What's up, my dudes? Oh my god. Okay, we got MX Bikes Beta 15 that I want to come in here and talk about. I have no idea when this is actually going to be coming out. This is some of the things I think that really need to be changed in the game, fixed, updated in the game, like pronto, ASAP, Rocky, like right now, like we got to do it, dog. So if any of you guys know when Beta 15 is going to be coming out or whatever, you can definitely let me know down in the comments because I don't really know. But yeah, so... But one of the main things I want to see fixed and improved in the game right now is just that standard, like, multiplayer optimization. I mean, that to me is, like, one of the things they need to get on as soon as humanly possible, because obviously that's going to be a really big aspect to the game when it starts getting a lot bigger, a lot more people start getting into it, start playing it. Obviously, the first thing they want to do is go in there and start racing in a multiplayer server, right? So this game certainly still does have some, buggy beta issues with the multiplayer of the game, which is expected because it still is in beta. But I think it's time, Piboso starts getting some of that stuff ironed out, starts getting that a little more completed, a little more finished in the game. So you guys know, I mean, you just pray to God every time you join into a random online server that you're not going to get the random crash that just completely boots you out of the entire game for no reason at all. You just, I've gotten multiple crashes in this game in random online servers. When I say multiple, I mean like, it's not a matter of if it will crash your game in a multiplayer server. It's a matter of when it's going to crash your game in a multiplayer server. So that's sort of the way it feels right now. And there's quite a bit of lag still in the game. I was hearing from a dude talking in one of my streams. He seemed to be a guy that, had played the game quite a bit. He said that Piboso was saying things about when you host a multiplayer server, like locally, like I was doing with, like I've been doing a lot of my multiplayer live streams. He said that could be, an aspect of it that's causing that amount of lag. So I don't really know. Either way, they definitely have some, like, just in general multiplayer. There's another thing where when you try to load into a multiplayer server, let's say I'm the first guy to join into a multiplayer server, right? And then you guys have probably seen this in some of my live streams as well, but you will get where when you're like warming up on the track or you're riding on the track or whatever, and anybody else tries to join into the server, that their bike will show up as a totally white, almost like a ghost bike. It'll show up with a white bike and no rider on the bike at all. So it's as if it's like the game has trouble loading in like somebody's new bike. I mean, it doesn't even load in like the standard default, color of the model of the bike or anything like that. And what you have to do is you have to go, if you joined in before they did, you have to go all the way back to the pits, right? You have to literally go all the way back to the pits and then get back on the track before it loads anybody else's bike into the actual race. So I'm not exactly sure what is causing that in particular, but that is super weird, super annoying. I don't really know why it does that per se, but and then another thing, obviously, is the absolute concrete center block. They're not even tough blocks in MX bikes, right? You guys know it's been some of the most annoying experiences you've ever had in your life running into the tough blocks on some of these tracks that actually have collision. You got to get that fixed, Piboso, like really soon. Like this has to be done. That is so unacceptable for any kind of game, any kind of motocross game. Like there was, Supercross 3, the official Supercross 3's video game tough blocks were terrible, but like, oh my God, this is like beyond terrible on MX bikes. This is like on another dimension, on another planet level of terrible. It can't get any worse. Literally, the tough blocks cannot get any worse on MX bikes. That's why you see a bunch of the tracks just totally turning the tough block collision completely off in the game. So they've got to find a happy medium to their tough block collision instead of having center blocks. That would be nice. And another little thing that I'm really surprised that they haven't put in this game yet is like a a constant pit board over on the left side of the screen, right? You guys know how MX Simulator is. It's constantly showing you what lap you're on, what position you're in, what your best lap time was, what your previous lap time was, constantly showing you that as a, a HUD mode of the game. Whereas with MX Bikes, you don't see the pit board until you cross the finish line, and a lot of times it just doesn't really show the proper stuff. It's not really showing you. I don't know. They got a lot of weird crap going on with that. I know about the whole, you can go download this Max HUD, mod to the game or whatever, but what I'm getting at is that should just be built into the game. No question about it. I should not go have to download a mod to be able to see what kind of lap times I'm running every single lap and what kind of position I'm in a race and all of that. Like, that's ridiculous, dude. And half the time it feels like the lap times aren't even really counting properly. I mean, it just feels, I don't know, it's really weird. And when you're running a race, it's like the amount of laps that it shows is the amount of laps you have left in the race. It doesn't show like what lap you're on. It shows you the amount of laps you have left in the race. So, and with that not being like a consistent thing, it only shows up sometimes when you cross the finish line. Not every time you cross the finish line, just sometimes. It gives it this really weird, unpolished, really just unfinished feeling to the game. So they really need to add a solid actual pit board that's just constantly on the screen displaying what's going on in the race and your lap times and your position and all that kind of stuff. Really think that needs to be put in this game like right now, dog. Like, it needed to be put in there 5 betas ago. I mean, holy crap. Like, that's a big one. So, we'll see how the physics develop in this game over the next few betas. Obviously, you would expect some changes with that. I know they still have some issues with on certain tracks, certain occasions where the terrain deformation will just create gigantic holes on the track. They definitely still have a few terrain deformation bugs in the game that need to be worked out. I think they could get to a point where, and I don't know if this is a like adjusting custom tracks type thing to where the terrain deformation would make, but I certainly think they can get to a point where the terrain deformation is making more different kinds of terrain deformation on different kind of dirt compounds than it is currently. It definitely does a decent job at it because seems as if there's somewhat varying levels of cushion on depending on what kind of track you're on in this game. The sand tracks having certain kind of cushion, and then that changes the way the terrain deformation is on like a Redbud versus a Southwick and shit like that, But I think that can certainly be advanced upon and, updated upon and worked upon in the future updates and stuff. But just the fact that this game does have cushion to the dirt, unlike some other games that have terrain deformation systems, you know what I'm saying, dog? It makes a big difference, man, on making it not feel so janky. It may look kind of janky, it may look like it's making some janky terrain when you have a really lot of laps on a track, a lot of riders and stuff like that, but it just doesn't feel as janky when you have cushion to the dirt. I don't know how to explain it, man, but cushion to the dirt is a necessity when it comes to a terrain deformation system in a motocross game, and I've been saying it forever, but it's necessity, dude. So that's a big, positive to MX Bikes, but I don't really... Oh, yeah, there was another little thing I really wanted to see. So when you're riding with the rain mode in this game, if you haven't noticed, the rain itself is actually not really falling down on the track. There really is no rain falling down on the tracks in this game. Like, if you haven't realized that, you need to understand that. It's trickling down on your screen. The rain is like trickling on your screen, but when you look off away from yourself, there really is no actual rain falling on the track. There isn't at all. There's not like rain falling off in the distance that you can see, far away from you or anything like that. That was just a really bizarre thing I noticed about the rain mode in this game, because I thought it was like that, where the rain was falling down, but it's not. What it is it's just falling down and trickling down on your actual screen. So then it's kind of giving you that illusion that the rain is falling down all over the track when it's really not. So they definitely need to add a bit of a sequence file or some kind of rain, thing where there's actually rain falling down all over the track when you have the rain mode turned on. Certainly think that would help with the immersion of it a little bit, but yeah, hopefully they kind of get more into making more, hardcore pre-made ruts on some of their stock tracks in the game. It'd be cool if they kind of beefed up the roughness and the pre-made ruts on some of those. But, yeah, that's just a few of the things I want to say. Of course, there's a plethora of other things, but that's just some of the main things I would kind of almost like some of these things I would kind of expect in Beta 15, but like definitely things I want in this next beta in the game. So, yeah, man, either way, you can definitely let me know down in the comments what you guys think. And, yeah, I'm having fun with MX Bikes. Going to be doing a lot more live streams on it. Be sure and have the notification bell turned on if you want to get the notifications for my live streams. I usually go in there and do completely open public servers that I'm racing in on there. So it's been a good time. Had a lot of fun racing with a lot of you guys, and I want to continue to do that. So we're going to get to the point where we start getting, really full servers in some of these live stream races. So it'll be a lot of fun when I start getting a little faster at the game, start getting a little better at racing in the game, and start really being able to compete with some of you guys. So, but yeah, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, dudes. Got to throw a crash at them, boys.